We have a very interesting clash here between Praggnanandhaa, who's a world-class grandmaster, and a WIM from Australia rated 2142, Heather Richards, and she's representing the street chess Canberra. D4, knight f6 and knight c3 played by Heather here. And Pragg, well, the main move is to play pawn to d5, but he goes g6, allowing white to take the center and plays the Pragg defense with bishop g7. Queen to d2, very aggressive setup chosen by white. Often the idea is to go bishop h6, long castle, and start pushing the kingside pawns. But now Pragg is threatening b5, and so Heather plays a4, stopping b5. And now the chances of white long castling are diminished. So a normal way to play is h3, but she goes f3. You know, h3 with the idea of knight f3, bishop e2 is a normal developing idea, but f3 is very aggressive now. She can play h4, g4, and she goes g4. Wow, this is very exciting because Heather is not intimidated by Pragg. She's taking the fight to him, and that is always very exciting when a top player is challenged by someone who's rated 500 points below them. That's always exciting. Now Pragg, he sees that her opponent has aggressive intentions, so he tries to figure out what is the way to create counterplay. One is that he can push his pawn to e5. The other is to play queen a5. He pushes e5, and you can take on e5. You can ignore it and play h4. You can also try and push d5, but that doesn't seem right. Okay, Heather has to play carefully here. She has to take a decision. She takes on e5, and Pragg now takes with the knight, and rightly so. He's using his pieces and the slight lead in development that he has, because d5 would have made the position very static and white could have played the move h4 here. But after knight e5, now there are all sorts of ideas, sacrifices here and here. Ooh, she goes long castle, and Pragg instantly plays d5. What a move. I think playing in the center is the right decision. If now g5 seems logical to hit here, and then knight h5. Basically, Pragg has realized that losing a pawn in the center is okay. It'll help him to open up his pieces. E takes d5 taken. Well, I guess g5 was much better, but e takes d5. Now, if c takes d5, Heather wants to go g5 and take here with the knight. But so Pragg can actually take back with the knight here. And there you will lose your pawn on d5. Look at this, knight d5, pawn d5, queen d5. He takes with the knight. But the top players have this sense. The bishop is open here, the knight is in the center, the other bishop is coming to e6, so take on d5, cd. And after queen takes d5, which is a natural move, Pragg, you can even, she takes the pawn. Pragg has to decide how to continue. He goes queen to c7, avoiding the queen trade, of course. Queen e7 was also possible, but queen c7. Can we try and pursue the exchange with queen d6 is the question. Heather has 1 minute 23 seconds. Pragg has 1 minute 50 seconds. I must say that white has given quite a good fight until now. It's move 13. I guess queen c5 or queen d6 make a lot of sense. I was wondering, if queen c5, what's your plan to avoid queen trade? Do you go back queen b8? I'll go queen d6 and trade off the queens. Heather is trying to calculate it out. It's tough to play such positions when all your pieces are still undeveloped, because bishop e6 is a threat, queen d6 a good move. And now Pragg can take, rook takes, and even this is excellent compensation with bishop d7 and bishop c6 would be quite nice. But Pragg goes queen a5, and wonderful move bishop b5, protecting the pawn here. Bishop e6 played, and now Heather goes b4, and Pragg comes back, now trading the queens is logical. But look at this, in spite of being a pawn down, Pragg is the one who's better. Why? Because look at his pieces. They are just incredibly well placed. Knight e2, impossible. f3 hangs. g4 hangs if you push f4. She goes bishop e2 to defend f3 and to get the knight out into the game. But now rook c8. Pragg avoids the rook trade. Starts putting pressure on the c2 pawn. King b1 played. And knight to c4. I believe you must pick up this knight. It's a very dangerous knight, but she goes bd4. And now knight a3 check. Pragg finds a nice move here. King c1, rook c2 is a mate. King b2. Oh, he sacrifices the knight. King takes a3 and boom, checkmate. Wow, what a game by Praggnanandhaa, and actually a great fight by Heather as well. 22 moves encounter, but a lot to learn about dynamics, pawn sacrifice, piece play, and excellent game overall to watch and learn from. I hope you enjoyed. This is Sagar Shah signing off. Bye bye.
Freedom begins with a choice. In 2008, we made ours. Freedom knows no borders. Step by step, we became part of the global financial system. In 2019, we went public on NASDAQ. In 2024, we built a digital ecosystem. Fintech, lifestyle, telecom, everything comes together in one unified digital space. Today, freedom is a system that shapes markets. $2 billion in annual revenue, $9.3 billion market capitalization, 11 million customers, 11,300 plus employees, 230 offices worldwide. Freedom begins with a choice, and every day we make it again. Freedom Holding Corp. One ecosystem, many possibilities.